Hey guys, welcome back. Bolt Spider here, and I'm doing a deck spotlight today, and this is on Beetrooper. Now, Beetrooper is a very interesting deck with how it functions right now because we're very limited of what we have for them. We have our lovely Stinger, we have the Scale Bomber, and we have Scout Buggy with the Link 4 and the Link 2. Now, I did some testing. Also, we do have the Field Spell and Counter Trap, but I'm going to get to those in a bit. I did some testing last night with my friends, and we actually found out that this deck's pretty good, because one of the things that I ended up doing was adding the kaijus to the main deck because they're both insects and they're both actually searchable by our lovely Resonant Insect. So we have searchable kaijus, so Dragoon outs, and Resonant Insect also is a Foolish Burial that's not a hard once per turn. I've been thinking of bumping it up to 3, but I feel like where it is now is actually pretty perfect. So let's go into the card by card of how the deck is. First up, we have double the Ghidorah and double Kumungus. These two are definitely the kaijus that you want to go for because you can give your opponent the Kumungus over something and then you can summon out your Ghidorah. So you will always have that interruption or that Dragoon out. And one of the good things about this is that if you have two Kumunguses, you can crash and get a token. And if you have Beetrooper in your graveyard, you can recycle it back onto the field. After that, we have two Sting Lancer. This card's actually very good because it summons itself. It's a interruption during your opponent's turn by getting a card out of your opponent's graveyard, putting it back into the deck, and you summon this from your hand, and it puts back one of your insects back to the deck, so you could recycle things like your kaijus, or any of your combo pieces like the Aztec Pede, or your Goki poles here and there. So this is a great card. It also searches out your spell and trap, which is pretty good. So it's a good beat stick. It can help getting rid of kaijus or anything. Next up, we have the Primitive Butterfly. This card, I only run at 1 because I don't want to see it all the time. Most of the time I special summon it. Other times I special summon it off of other effects because that's how it pretty much works. And I quite like it at 1 because it's not really a brick. Other times it's good because you can summon it off of things like Cicada King. After that, we have Aztec Pede, the Worm Warrior. It's just a Gigantes for the deck. And also, if it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, send the top card of their deck to the graveyard, so it makes them lose on resources from the deck while getting something in the graveyard. Most likely, it really doesn't become helpful. We have Resonant Insect. It's our searcher plus our Foolish Burial for the deck. It searches out any level 5 or higher insect type monster from your deck. And it also, if it's banished, you can send one insect type monster from your deck to the graveyard. So you send your things like Goki Pole. And it must be sent from the field to the graveyard, but that's completely fine because most of the time you're going to be summoning it off your extra normal summon. Scale Bomber is great with Scout Buggy and Galaxy Worm because you can chain block, you normal summon them, activate effect chain Scale Bomber, so you can special summon it. And that gives you 3 free monsters on the board, which is actually quite good for a deck like this. Then we have the Galaxy Worm. This is just another copy of Beetrooper Scout Buggy, but this only summons from deck, and you can recycle the Galaxy Worms if you need to with things like the Insector Link or other cards as well, like your Lance Stinger. After that, we have Goki Pole. This is just another Foolish Burial to send your Resonant Insect, and it's just there for another Foolish Burial target. So what you're going to do is send the Resonant Insect to the graveyard for a Link Summon, get your search. Then if you have something like an Aztec, a Pede, or your Link 2 in the graveyard, you can banish it, banish 3 insects to summon out whatever you need, and then send the Goki Pole sends, and you add an Aztec Pede. So most of the time you're just cycling through your Aztecs. After that, we have 3 Beetrooper Scout Buggy. This is just Galaxy Worm, like I said, and it summons another copy out from the hand deck or graveyard, so watch out for Ghost Belt. After that, we have Insector Hornet. This card is actually a one-of copy because you can equip it with your Insector Piccolphenia, and it's actually quite good because you could just pop a card your opponent controls, and you can equip it to any of your insects because of the Insector Link monster, which is quite nice at the cost of discarding a card, which really doesn't matter because you could discard things like Scout Buggy, Resonant Insect, or your Primitive Butterfly if you bricked into it. Then for the hand traps, we have 3 Ash Blossom Triple Ghost Spell and 2 Pin the Bullseye. This is actually a very good extender. I don't want to see it all the time, but I want to see it some of the time, so that's why it's at 2. I had it at 3, but I never saw it at 3, but at 2 I see it a lot of the time because of a lot of the choices that there are. After that, we have our staples, pretty much triple, or Harpy Feather Duster, Call by the Grave, and Terraforming for our field spell. Triple Retort Fusion, because we actually do have an insect fusion monster, which is Quaggar Hercules. This is a $50 rare, $500 super rare, because it was only printed in Tournament Pack, and I hope it gets reprinted in OTS 17, because it really desperately needs it. This is the only insect target that you can have, because whenever you look at fusion insect monsters, it is just Quaggar Hercules. And I feel like we might need another one, but we'll have to see what they're gonna do. If it becomes an effect monster, I'm gonna also run instant fusion in this deck because it's gonna be another extender for what we're playing. After that, we have 3 of the field spell. This is a monster reborn, but you lose life points equal to the original attack. And if a face-up insect monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 Beetrooper token. So it is a token generator. You can use it in things like Beetrooper Metaphor Inzector, so you can get out a token, summon out a Beetrooper again, and link more. But overall, I like it there just in case, and it's another search target, so I might cut it in the future, but we'll have to see about that. The card is amazing, but we need kind of more targets just for it, because right now we only have 5 targets, and it's not that optimal sometimes. After that, we have Beetrooper Flying Sting. This is your counter trap if your opponent activates a monster effect. Negate the activation, destroy it. During the end phase, if this card is sent to the graveyard, or if this card is in your graveyard, and you control an insect monster with 3,000 or more attack, banish an insect monster from your graveyard, set this card. So it constantly just resets itself. If you activate it on your opponent's turn during your end phase, you just set it again, and then on your opponent's turn you have another counter trap negation, which is actually quite nice. Then let's get into the extra deck. Quaggar Hercules is just another name, just another insect, so I might as well just run it. Then we have a Divine Arsenal, a Zeus package with Zeus, Downer Magician, and 2 number 3 Cicada King. Cicada King is an amazing card because it's also not only that it is a monster negate, it makes insect monsters gain 500 defense or change its battle position of an insect monster. So if you summon out something from your hand like a kaiju and it's in defense, let's say you summon out the Kumungus or the Gardala, and you summon out on defense, you can just change it to attack so your opponent can't really attack over it. I really love this card because this deck is facilitated more on rank 3s than linking, I feel right now. So if you can end on your giant insect that's 3k attack in this with the counter trap, that's pretty good. And speaking about our giant insect, we have Giant Beetrooper Invincible Atlas. This is your main boss monster of the deck for now. When it's link summon, while this link summon card has 3,000 or less attack, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, also cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. So it's a semi-tower, but it can still be destroyed by battle, but it gets around things like Axis Code Talker's targeting effect and many other things, which is quite nice. And you can tribute an insect monster to special summon a Beetrooper from your deck, or you can make it gain 2,000 attack. So most of the time you're going to tribute out an insect for a Sting Lancer to get your counter trap, but if you already have your counter trap, you're going to tribute for a Scout Buggy, and that Scout Buggy is going to summon out another copy of itself and summon out a Cicada King. So that is definitely quite nice. Then we have another little package of Axis Code Talker, Unicorn, and Phoenix, because this is easy to do. And you could just link off the Scout Buggy, because that's the only main deck monster that locks you into insects. Your 2 other insect link monsters for the archetype actually lock you into it. So you have to be careful when you're going to summon out these. After that, we have the 1 insect Shinobi. This is just another name. It's another staple. 2 monsters with different names, so it's another type of nightmare monster. While this card points to a monster, your opponent's monsters cannot target this card for attacks, which is quite nice. So if you have this and your link 4, they really have to attack into their 3k, your 3k monster. If a monster this card points to is destroyed by battle card effect, special summon one level 4 or lower insect monster from your hand or graveyard. So this is where you can summon something out like a scout buggy to summon out another scout buggy, or you could just summon out resonant insects so you could get a level 5 or higher search. So most of the time you're going to be searching out Sting Lancer on your opponent's turn if you do this, so you can get another monster out on board if they are trying to attack you for game. After that, when you have 2 Insector Piccolophinia, this card is very great because it equips our Hornet to it. Then after we use our Hornet, we can shuffle it back to draw 1. So later on, we can summon out a second one, shuffle back that second one, or the first one, if we use it for a link for 4, and then we can do the exact same thing with the Hornet. So it's a recursive Hornet engine, which I quite like. So that's definitely given a use for this card and a lot of other things. Plus, you could equip one insect, any insect from your deck. So you can equip something like a resonant insect or any of your Insector cards, which is quite nice. You can equip a Gigamantis to it. So your monster becomes 2400 attack, which is actually not a bad idea. Or you can do Hopper, and the monster that you have can attack directly. But there's many of options that you can do. And finally, we have Beetrooper Armor Horn. This is actually a very good card because it's your additional normal summon. And if it's in your graveyard, banish 3 other insects and special summon it from your graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. This card triggers your resonant insect after you've done everything with it. So if you have multiples in your graveyard, you can banish multiples. So that's quite nice. So you can dump a Goki Pole or a Scout Buggy. But I think I do have some replays I have to see, because I have a ton of them. And I believe it's this one right here. So this is me and my friend testing. He's playing a Time Thief Phantom Knight deck, and I'm playing my deck. He Valors the Horn while I get all my searches, summon out Aztec, shuffle back the Resonant, or banish the Resonant, send Goki Pole, grab another Aztec, go into Piccolophinia, discard equipping a Resonance, and then I'm going to shuffle back 3. So I can draw a card, go up into our link 4, use the Lancer, summon it out, shuffle 2 back, search out Godarla, use effect, get the counter trap, tribute the monsters, summon out Scout Buggy, and going up into a Cicada King. So we have 2 monster negates and our link 4. So he's going to use his regulator. I negate it, start up, summon the adjuster, he activates the effect, I Cicada King. So after that, he activates a Shade Brigandine, he opened up 2 sadly, summons out the Force Strix, and he goes into his full combo. I wish this deck had another form of negate that you can do, but it really happens there. I'm going to banish 3, summon out the Armor Horn, use Resonant Insect, dump a Goki Pole, and Goki Pole is going to get another Aztec. And I'm going to summon out both Aztecs for another 3k beat stick, summon out the Godarla, use the effect Tribute to summon out a Lancer, use the Lancer, get the field spell, activate the field spell, and I'm going to Retort Fusion to summon out the Quagger, go into the link 2, and then go into battle phase. Now, this isn't game, but he tries to stop and doesn't really work that well. And I go into Insect Shinobi because it just states, while this card points to a monster, but it doesn't really matter. I could have summoned it here, but that's absolutely fine with how that was. And the other replay that I have is this one, where I actually open up Primitive Butterfly, double pin Bullseye, and he gets full combo. I believe, because yeah, it's how the deck works. The deck can definitely go through 1 to 2 negates if you have the right materials, so that's definitely nice. He summons up the Infinity first before he does anything else, because he has a Strangleanius in his hand, so he's going to summon it, use the effect to summon out the Singing Lanius, use Bardiche to set a lovely set everything. Pretty much has everything. He activates infinities, sucks up the Phantom Knight, and he has everything that you need. And I actually should have went into the Link 4 that has 3k attack and attack over infinity. So yeah, that's something. But this deck definitely has its struggles and will have its struggles in the future, where you misplay here and there, but other than that, you can just push through a lot. So that's where that's going to end, because he has full game. And finally, I believe this is the last one, where I go first and he opens up driver. So one thing that you do have to watch out for this deck is that they're going to always try and negate your extra normal summon, because they don't know what's in your hand, but it's definitely a little worth it. As you can see, I'm banishing 3, using our lovely Link 4, summoning out Sting to search out our counter trap, and that's pretty much the moderate board that you can get. And we're going to Ash, they're going to Gamma, I'm going to Flying Sting. So I make him waste 2 effects, and that's just game. And the next card would have been a Resonant Insect, so I could have gone into a Link of 4 easily. But that is my coverage on Beetrooper. I hope you guys did enjoy. I'm waiting for that next support from Burst of Destiny, so keep an eye out for that updated deck list. And if you want to see more content like this, hit that like button down below, and see you guys in the next video.